I'm excited about what God has in store for us. And I want you to know that everything that's happening is for our good. What you're listening to is Tamala Mann's new CD, One Way. And the song that you're listening to is For My Good. And you'll see why I chose this song for this morning. That's Tamala Mann. Well, good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Empowerment. I am excited. I'm always excited. I always say that anyway. But I'm really grateful because there are a lot of things around us that's happening that's to discourage us, that is meant to take us away from our focus and take us away from what we ought to be doing and feeling and saying and experiencing in this season. And so what God laid upon my heart to share with you on this morning, the topic is a change in perspective. A change in perspective. And when you think of perspective, you think of a point of view, the lenses through which we look at situation. Perspective is the angle through which we perceive or we view whatever it is we're looking at. And the things that we're looking at could be a visual picture, could be things that are happening around us, things that are happening to us. And I'm here to encourage us on this morning, for those of us who may be experiencing hardship and loss and failures and disappointments and struggles. We need a change in perspective. And that change in perspective doesn't, alleviate the fact or dismiss the fact that things are happening. We're feeling these things. We are seeing these things happening around us. We are experiencing, we are being a part of what's happening. It doesn't negate that it is happening. What it does when our perspective is changed, it allows us to look at it from a different angle. And that angle then will also change how we view ourselves, how we view our situation, how we view life, and how we view God. I want to share a scripture with you this morning, and it's taken from Habakkuk 3:17. And I'm reading from the New Living Translation. It says, "Even though the fig trees have no blossoms, and there are no grapes on the vine, even though the olive crops fail, and the fields lie empty and barren, even though the flocks die in the fields, and the cattle barns are empty, yet," that's what I love about this viewpoint, this perspective, yet. Another word for yet is but. Another word for yet is however. "I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in the God of my salvation. The sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes me as sure-footed as a deer, able to tread upon the heights." That's what I want to talk about to us today, about a change in perspective. Disappointment will come. Disappointment has come. And disappointment is not going to change how we view ourselves. Disappointment is not going to change how we view the situation. Disappointment is not going to change how we view God. Some of us have lost loved ones within the last couple of days or a week. Some of us may be experiencing sickness and hardship and difficulty. But can I tell you this, just like Habakkuk could say, although all these things are happening, I've got to change my perspective. I've got to change how I view what I'm experiencing. I've got to change how I look at this thing. If you don't change your perspective, what is your alternative? What is the alternative of not changing our perspective? Can I give you a few alternatives? One of them is anger. One of them is confusion. One of them is looking at life as dim and dull and feeling like you can't go on, feeling like this is the end. Another way of looking at, an alternative of looking at it, is feeling hopelessness, feeling that everything around me is dark and there is no light anywhere. And so what happens then, when our perspective, the alternative to changing our perspective, allows us not to thrive, allows us not to have the light and the life of God flow into us and through us and around us. That's what happens. So we're not going to choose the alternative to changing our perspective. We're not going to keep the mindset that this is the worst thing that has happened to you. And very well, it may very well be the worst thing ever that is happening or has happened to you. We're not negating that. What we're saying to you this morning is that begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Begin to see yourself being strengthened by that which came to make you weak. Begin to see yourself hopeful by that which came to make you have a hopeless perspective. Begin to see light from that which has brought darkness to you. You know, a change in our perspective, when it's really dark, we can't really see everything clearly. Things seem to not appear how it should be. We can't really zone in on the importance because things are dark, they're dim. These spectacles that I have on are just a representation of our darkness, our hopelessness, our insecurity, our fear, our doubt, our anger, our frustration. And so we can't really see the goodness. We cannot see the hope that can result in what's going on right now. Because all we can see is what is dark around us. But God is saying to us on this morning, change your perspective. It might mean you have to kind of juggle things a little bit to kind of wake yourself up to see that you're in a fog. You might have to shake yourself to find out that, wait a minute, this is not how life is going to be for me all the time. And when you begin to allow the light of God to come in, you begin to see things from a different perspective. You begin to see hope. You begin to see that that thing that is happening to me, it may be the worst thing, but I'm going to be strengthened by it. It may be for a season, but in that season, I'm going to be strengthened by that thing. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's painful. Yes, I don't understand. Why now? Why her? Why him? Why this? A lot of times we do not have the answers to those whys. But guess what? We know a God who has all the answers. And in time, I believe in time, it will be made plain to us. But I also believe that because we don't know the answers to everything, let's change our perspective and think positively. Now, am I saying not to be real about your feelings? No, I'm not saying that. But let me tell you what Habakkuk said. And I know when Habakkuk wrote this, it was in an agrarian society. It was in a society where it's farmers and, vegetable animals and everything, livestock. These people were shepherds. These people were farmers. And the situation looked dim. He said, there are no figs blossoming. We have a fig tree, and it's time for the figs to blossom, but there aren't any blossoms on the fig tree. He said, it's time for grapes to be showing. It's time for us to be able to go to the vine, that grape harbor, and pick some grapes, but there are no grapes on the vine. He said the olive crops, they fail. There are no olives there. We can't get oil. We can't get olives. There's nothing bearing. And it is a season to bear, mind you. And the fields are empty and barren. There is no wheat. There's no barley. There's nothing growing. What in the world is happening here? He says, and the flocks in the field, that which brought me sustenance, that which brought me income, that which made us wealthy. There is nothing there. There are no crops. There are no flocks in the field. Not only that, I don't even have anything in the barn. The barns, there's no cattle in the barn. There's nothing in the cupboards. There's nothing in the refrigerator. There's nothing in your bank account. And Habakkuk said, I know this seems like a hopeless situation. I know this seems like there's no end in sight. I know this seems like my world is falling apart. Can I tell you? That's when you fall on God. That's when you release yourself in his hand and said, I don't understand. I can't wrap my head around what's going on. This makes no sense. Habakkuk felt the same way. He was a prophet in the Old Testament in Israel. But he changed his perspective with a comma. With a comma and a conjunction. He said, yet, which changed what he said before. It changed the beginning of his sentence. No crops in the field, no cattle in the barn, no olive on the vine, no grapes on the vine, no figs are blossoming. He says, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. Let me tell you, can I be real with you? That's tough. Because everything in me says I am supposed to be at my wit's end. I'm supposed to be angry. I'm supposed to be upset. Yes, you can be. But you can't stay there. I'm supposed to be mad with the world. I'm supposed to be just out of it right now. He said, yet I will rejoice. Now, I wonder why he would say something like that. I believe that Habakkuk had in the past experienced hardship before, and God was there for him. I believe he experienced great pain, great loss, and somehow strength welled up in him. And he saw the end of the road. He saw the end of the turmoil. He saw the end of the conflict. He saw the end of the drought. He saw the end of the famine. Somewhere he went back in the annals of his mind and thought on God and remembered that God is his strength. Yes, I'm bewildered. Yes, I'm frustrated. Yes, I'm hurting. Yes, I just lost my loved one. And it makes no sense whatsoever. But I've got to reach deep down on the inside of me from my experiences that I've had with God and say, God, you understand. And I'm going to pull on my past experience with you. And I'm going to allow the Holy Spirit to bring joy to me. Because in this season, I need strength. I need hope. I need to know this is not the end for me. This is not the end for my family. Things will not continue to be this way. So guess what? Let me give you some strategies. As I said before, rejoice in the Lord. Because Habakkuk says, God is my salvation. That word salvation just basically means the one or that which brings back to life, that which brings hope, that which saves. God is my hope. God is my salvation. I have to believe that he's in with me in the storm. I've got to change my perspective. I can't keep looking at life through those dark spectacles. I've got to receive the light and the life of God. So I speak to you this morning and I say to you, begin to hope again. Begin to hope again. Hope, this is my definition. Hope is the expectation of goodness. Expect good to come from this. Expect growth to come from this. Not only that, but begin to believe beyond your feelings. What's interesting about feelings is that it's never permanent. It's temporary. So that which you're feeling right now, when you change your perspective, your feelings will change. Your emotions will begin to come in line with that which you're believing God for. Not only that, sometimes When we are not at rest, both in body and mind, we become frustrated. We become overly stressed. And a strategy to help fixing that is rest. I often tell my friends, even God rested. He made the world in 6 days, and on the seventh, he rested. If God could rest, how much more we? So sometimes when we're going through our storms, when things are topsy-turvy, that's the time we ought to take some time and rest. And I know it's the total antithesis of what we're going through, because the restlessness, the confusion, the pain, the hurt, the confusion, the frustration keeps us awake. But can I encourage you? Ask God, God, show me how to rest. Show me how to put my mind at ease. Show me how to silence the voices that keeps telling me it's not going to be okay. This is the worst thing that has ever happened. You're not going to make it out of this. Show me how to silence those voices. Not only that, give yourself some time to heal. We're not fair to ourselves sometimes. In changing your perspective, give yourself some time to heal. Don't look for all the answers now. Rest. Wait. Allow your mind, allow your body, allow your soul to heal. Your body went into a shock when you got that news. Allow yourself to heal. Allow yourself to heal. Can I tell you, what I'm sharing with you is also what I've experienced and what I'm experiencing even now. People who I love, people who I care about are being affected by death, by loss, by disappointment. And I weep and I have to shake myself and say, God, there's got to be something good that comes out of this. There has got to be. Whether it's the stretching on me, whether it's a newfound revelation about who you are, I will not be upset at you, God. I will not be upset at you. Because all good things come from you. I may not understand what is happening now. I may not be able to wrap my mind around it and get all the answers and be able to put things together. But in the midst of it, like Habakkuk said, I am going to look for the good. I am going to rest on the strength of my God. Another strategy I want to share with you is begin to look and find stories about people who overcame the odds. There are a plethora of stories out there of people who went through things that you are now going through. Read about their stories, not only the ones in the Bible. There are a host of stories in the Bible that talk about people who've gone through loss, pain. We just read one a little while ago. And how their perspective was changed. Do that. That's one way to help ourselves with understanding and with going through the change and with changing our perspective on how we view things. You know, the song that I played at the top of the hour, For My Good by Tamala Mann. She says, God, you're my shelter in the time of storm. You're my refuge from the rain. My comfort when the weight's too hard for me to bear. You take away the pain. Many times Lord, I don't understand. But I know you have a plan. Can I tell you? There's a plan in all of this. Life comes with bumps in the road. It's what we do with when we're faced with the bumps in the road. Life comes with losses and gains. Life comes with joy and pain. Life comes with fulfilled expectations and disappointments. It's what we do with the negative that creates and develops the positive. You know, when you're I know these days you just do your smartphone and take your picture and boom, you have it. But in the old days, they used to have cameras and they would have to develop a film. They could never develop the film while the lights were on. It had to be developed, the negative of that film had to be developed in darkness. Can I tell you something? In this time of darkness, which is represented by hurt, pain, loss, let's be developed. So when the light does come on, we are mature. We are fit. We are filled with hope. We're filled with the light of God. We're filled with life so that we can then turn around and help someone else. We can then turn around and be of comfort, an example to someone else. So she says, Tamala Mann does in her song, every tear, it's working. The pain and fear, it's working. It's working for my good. Though I cannot see, you work it out for me. It's working for my good. Why? Because my life is in your hand. I am trusting in your plan. Why? Because it's working for my good. That comes from Romans 8:28. And it basically says, for I know that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. I encourage us today, change your perspective and your life and your focus will be different. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining me for Monday Morning Empowerment. May God bless you. May you begin to see the light of God and the life of God flowing to you and through you in this time. Enjoy your week and God bless you.